Welcome to another episode of The Millionaire's Mind. I'm really glad that you chose to join us right here on Ebru TV. You can interact with us on all social media platforms. That's at Ebru TV or myself, Lucy Riley. I'm your host, Lucy Riley, and as always, I do like to start with a quote. And this time around, I'll kick us off with Zig Ziglar, who is a best-selling author, a coach, and a writer. And he likes to say, if people like you, they will listen to you. But if they trust you, they will do business with you. And so today our topic is centered around building a brand. And I am joined by two gentlemen who do look very, very good and classy. But I will allow them to introduce themselves. But on my right, I have Mr. Macharia Ngatia. And on my left, I have Mr. Vincent Kamwilu. And perhaps I can just hear briefly about you and your business and how you got to meet each other.
Thank you very much, Lucy. My name is Macharia, an ICT consultant and brand strategist. I'm the CEO of Agency 254, a tech firm in Nairobi, Kenya. Vincent is my co-founder. We happened to meet some way back working in another company, but then we decided now to come up with something bigger, something that will help us solve business problems that are facing normal Kenyans and SMEs.
Fantastic. And so maybe I can just kick you right off, Vincent. What's in a brand? What is a brand? And why is it so important for companies to actually have a brand?
Thank you so much, Lucy. Just to basically introduce what a brand is and what it entails for a successful brand to be. A brand is not a logo, number one. A brand is all what people speak when you're not around it. Is what people discuss about it. Is what the perception of people, how they speak about a brand. For example, I want to talk about big brands like. You find that when the C is not around, is the time when you know the real meaning of. Is when people discuss the values. Meaning, a brand is what people speak when the owners are not around them.
Right. Now that's very precise. But then what are the fundamental components when you're talking about building a brand that a business or especially a startup company needs to be aware of and needs to embody?
One thing about branding you should know is that branding is about identifying a niche in the market and then concentrating all your focus on that niche. And for example, in Kenya, when you're branding, you should look into brands like which are brands that are very well established. If you want to go for coffee anywhere and you want to go in a decent place, the first thing that will come into your mind will be why? Because it has been able to capture the market and be able to position themselves in the best position to be able to attract you. So a brand should be able to attract followers and not for it to be advertising itself to the followers.
Right, so other than just identifying the niche and being able to attract followers, what else should a company be looking at specifically in order to build that brand? Are there any key elements, maybe other than identifying the niche? What about the product itself? Maybe you can briefly talk about that.
Sure, to have a successful brand, you have several components that we have basically to look at, including the color, the typeface, and all the imagery. So these are the key components that when starting a brand, you should focus on. I'll take an example of whenever I feel thirsty, I usually think of they have a brand that has a special way of imagery, they have a specific color, they have a specific typeface that they have been using for a couple of years, which has not yet changed, meaning they have maintained a certain culture in their brand.
Right, I really like what you're saying, and what I'm picking from you is that when you're building a brand, you really have to think about your color, the design, the outlook, and what people will remember even beyond what you sell them. But then again, what is really the difference between branding and marketing? Is there a difference when you talk about the two? Are they interchangeable? Are they one and the same thing?
Branding and marketing are not interchangeable, but you find most people interchanging them. But branding really means it's what people say about you as a brand. You go ask someone, what do they know about They know that's where, for example, if you go to campus today, they tell you that's where I go when I want to meet someone who is high profile. Also, when I need a new date, I go on. I prefer of other hotels. Why? Sell the same coffee as other hotels. For example, if you go to town, but these guys will always prefer over the other hotels. This is because of the branding they've done for their brand. Marketing is now the art of telling people we exist. So this one now, this is where you need to go, come up with flyers, come up with banners, come up with social media strategies now to inform and push traffic, push information to people that, hey, company A, B, C, D exists and this is what we do. So that's the main difference between branding and marketing.
Would you say that you need marketing then to push your brand out there and become more aware? And especially when you look at very successful companies, what do you think has been that one key factor that's made those companies successful, maybe without mentioning specific companies, that made those companies stand out and many generations will continue to talk about them even when they probably might not utilize marketing and selling constantly?
Marketing and branding, the main connection between them is the target market or the target audience. There are brands that need to advertise, there are others that don't need to advertise because their clients already established, identify themselves with the brands. One good example is, for example, the company doesn't need to advertise itself because the CEO of the company is well known in the world. And people believe if Elon Musk endorses this product, it must be great product. So if Elon Musk has branded himself in that way, that means everyone will trust every company that Elon Musk will go into. That means Elon Musk himself is a very good brand worldwide.
I like how he's talked about there are some companies that don't need to market themselves because they sell themselves, just like that. So how does a company get to that space? Especially if you're a startup company, you know that you need to put aside some money to market yourself and you need to build your brand. But how do you get to a point where you don't even need to market yourself?
I believe the management system that you come up with and the way you approach the market and also your key competitors matter so much. Meaning, if I'm competing with this X company and I know their strategy is using billboards or the road signs, I'll come up with a different strategy to encounter or to combat them, either using the social medias and other digital platforms to push up for my brand.
Yeah. So then how then can a company increase its brand awareness to the public? How can they begin to be well known and more trusted? Maybe specific things that they can begin to do even right now.
At this time of age, with the technology that we ventured into and also due to the pandemic issue, you find that social media is the platforms. They are the platforms whereby now many of the brands, they are being pushed, whereby they are having strategic ways whereby they can do the kind of designs to push the brand, to push their products and also the models of their business. So I think in this kind of perception, I think at this time of age, using social medias as distinguished from the old model whereby we could use the billboards, the road signs, whereby now people are not walking all around, but always on the phones, tablets, and on the machines.
We'll come back to that point on social media and building your brand online, but I just want to understand, why is it so difficult then to build a brand? There are some companies that have been in existence 10 plus years, but we still don't know about them. But mention one company and immediately you become familiar with them, yet they've probably, yes, they've been in the brand or in the market for long, or some of them haven't been in the market for long, but why is it so difficult then to build a brand?
Good question. Yeah, it's not easy building a brand. One factor you should consider before starting a brand is consistency. So before you start a brand, you need to plan on how consistent you will be. For example, if you go to social media, how consistency are you posting? You can post one post today and then the other one you post next month. That way you are losing connection with your customers. Every customer you attract today, you need them tomorrow. So it's upon you to keep on updating them on these new products that we are bringing to the market or new enhancements we've done to our products and so forth. So one and the most key thing for brand to grow is consistency.
Consistency. So what I'm gathering is that many companies that might not have been able to create that brand awareness, the reason being is that they are not as consistent when it comes to informing their audience and letting their public know what they're doing.
True.
And so maybe I want to find out, we are in COVID-19 times and businesses are trying to cut back on their costs and they're really trying to work within what they have. So why should they be thinking about outsourcing or perhaps even looking for someone else to do their branding on their behalf, rather than maybe perhaps training people within their company to always be pushing out information about their brand consistently over time? Is there an importance really of getting more qualified people to build your brand for you, or is that something that can be done within the company? Maybe I can hear from you first.
Very nice question. Looking at the way our graduates have been graduating from their universities, you find many of them, if I can term them as quacks, they have the paper qualification, but skill-wise, they are not proven. So it will be much easier for a business to source out an agency to do the business for them, or else to do the project for them, because it is a trustable agency which has a collection of qualified professionals who have been tested and their works have been approved. Meaning, if we'll be working with agencies rather than getting specific persons in specific departments to do the work, it will be much easier for the company to reduce the cost for employing and then getting in touch with them or teaming up with the agencies to get their projects accomplished.
Yeah. What are the signs that show that a person doesn't know how to talk about their brand? What things tell you that perhaps they haven't quite mastered their brand, they don't know how to represent their brand to the public, and perhaps they really do need help?
Number one thing is product knowledge. If you are working with, you must be knowing what it does. They have different kind of products, from coffee, from the other drinks and food that they serve. So if you find someone from there, they say, I'm from, yet they can't be able to explain what kind of drinks, what kind of food they do. That means that person is not well conversant with what they do and they are misplaced. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So the one first thing, as you add one more, is that if a person or anybody who's really working within the company isn't able to quite pinpoint the product and really understand the features in and out, so what other thing can show you that this company doesn't quite understand its product well or isn't well positioned in terms of branding?
The consistency, as my partner has said, you find that many are not consistent with the kind of, they are pushing their brand either in the public space or on the social medias. So the issue of consistency is a key factor when you are now getting to understand the brand and the brand values.
I like that, because then why wouldn't you be consistent in something that you believe in, right? And so maybe finally, as we come to a wrap up, what kind of budget should anybody, even young entrepreneurs, have when they're looking at building their brand? Should they have a budget for such a venture? Should they be thinking, I'll put aside a certain amount of money that will be for churning out to really build that image and ensure that I have that visibility that the public needs?
Of course, you need a budget. Number one for branding, and then number two for marketing, because those two things go hand in hand. But then, according to my experience so far, I think marketing carries the largest budget, and then branding carries the number two budget. So when you're starting a brand, you need to account for things like you need a logo, you need a website, you need, for example, if you are in a company that, like for example, you need a mobile application, and then you need social media presence. So you need all these products to be uniform. So this is where now the agency comes. The agencies have experience in all these products. They've worked with so many people from different angles of business. So hiring them will help you now come and conceptualize your idea, come put together your logo, your website, your social media, and then make them merge and speak the same language. and that way you'll be able to now sell or market your brand. You know, when, for example, you see color green somewhere, you know that is also. That's because they've invested a lot in their branding and their marketing. So you can never forget about branding or marketing whenever you are starting a new brand.
Now, if you would give advice to young entrepreneurs on the single most difficult thing that they have, there's no way around it, they will encounter when it comes to building a brand, what would that be and how can they overcome it? Because as they continue to build their business and continue to reinforce the trust to their customers, they're going to come up with challenges. But there is probably one or even two single most difficult challenges that they will encounter when building their brand, and perhaps as experts you can tell them this is how you can handle such a situation. Maybe I'll allow yourself first and then Vincent.
So the challenges, of course, will be there. You face number one challenge you ever meet from any place of the world is financial challenge. You find yourself in a situation of trying to meet different needs. That is paying office rent, paying power bill, for example. If you're in Kenya, you need to pay for Wi-Fi. So you need to be to plan yourself very well before starting. And that's it.
Yeah, fantastic. I really like the point on finances because that's going to be a really big part of running your everyday business. And so perhaps you can also give us one other challenge and how you can actually overcome that.
Sure. Apart from finances, due to the competitive market we usually have currently, there's this thing of endurance and persistence. As much as you're in the business, we have a lot of people still come in the business, and the way you are handling your management system and the way you are handling your client really matters a lot. Meaning, if you endure and be persistent to maintain it, it will actually kick you out of the business.
All right, so I really like what you're saying on persistence and endurance, which is something that really lacks when you look at sometimes young entrepreneurs. When they face a challenge or a hurdle or they fail at their first business venture, you find that they quit, and they don't continue with their business. But I'm getting that we do have a little bit more time. How can you simplify your brand? Sometimes you think of a brand and you're thinking of something complicated. You're thinking, oh, you have to think of the colors. And if you're like me, then, every color is good. And you have a problem even just choosing the colors. So how can you really simplify that process or your brand identity to make it as simple as possible? Is there a process to it?
First of all, to answer on the question of youth giving up, I think it's normal. But then the only differentiating factor between people who make it and people who don't make it is the power of falling down and waking up, dusting yourself and moving on with what you are doing. Because we've emphasized on consistency. Even after you fall today, make sure next Monday you do a post on what you are doing. The following Monday, the following Friday, that way people will trust your business because, as you said, as we were starting, people work with people they know, trust, and like. So if you're not consistent in your business, be sure to attract more people. And then on the other question of, what was it?
And how can you simplify your brand identity, especially in the process of figuring out your brand?
So the best way to do that, I see, yourself, the way you are as Lucy, you can be able to see. There's a perspective that other people sees you from outside. So it's always good to allow other people to speak about you from their perspective because, if you're a brand, you'll not be selling to yourself. You'll be selling to those people. So it's always good to have another person who is outside your brand to give you a perspective of your own brand. So yes, it's good you come up with your own colors, ideologies, your perspective, and then move a step further and try to consult outside because these people are the ones who will be buying from you. So ask them, is this color okay for me? And that's why we come in as a branding agency. We are able to position you, put you there, and then we critique you as a customer. And that way you will be able to come up with the best brand that you ever dream of.
Fantastic. Spoken like a true entrepreneur. And perhaps you can also give us your parting shots.
Hard on, actually, the basically thing is the critique part of it. If you don't receive the critique, you won't be able to get the real thing that you want. Meaning, if you receive, be it positive or negative, and I'll go for the negative, you'll have to sit down and deconstruct it and make it positive for you now to achieve the main goal that you are targeting at. So the point of critique is the real deal for such a situation, for making it more simple.
All right, then. Now it's time for us to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll be having another segment, which is called Quick Fire. And our two gentlemen here will be answering some questions right off the top of their heads in the very shortest time possible, and we'll have a little bit of fun with that. But even before we take the break, let me know what exactly you gathered and picked up from this session, because it was quite insightful. When you're building your brand, there are certain key elements and considerations that you have to make as a young entrepreneur that will kind of kickstart you and help you grow and build in this industry. And what I gathered is, you know, it's something that requires consistency. You need to put aside a budget, and of course, looking at those who've already done it in the industry and seeing what elements you can actually borrow from them. So don't touch the dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now it's time for another exciting segment known as Quick Fire, where we get to ask our guests some mind-boggling questions and just see how smart they are. But just as a hint, relax and have some fun. Don't overthink it. The simpler it is, the easier it will be. All right? Yes. So question number 1. A rooster laid an egg on top of the barn roof. Which side did it roll? A rooster laid an egg on top of the barn roof. Which side did the egg roll?
Roosters don't lay eggs.
Wow, amazing! Are you sure you didn't have Kenya?
No.
Oh, fantastic! Let's give him a round of applause. Woohoo! All right, then. Now you're leading with 1 point, Masharia. Don't let me down.
Wait. Should I? Okay. I get.
You're good. You're good. Yes, just jump in when you have the right answer.
Okay.
Now, if it took 8 men 10 hours to build a wall, how long would it take 4 men to build it? If it took 8 men 10 hours to build a wall, how long would it take 4 men to build it?
20 hours.
All right,
8
you're
hours.
close. Oh my goodness, I think you overthought this one, gentlemen. Just take your time, you can get it. Think again, it's simple mathematics. 10 men, 8 hours. No, sorry, 8 men, 10 hours. 4 men? The correct answer is no time at all. The wall was already built by the first 8 men. Wow, I told you, don't think too much. Don't think too much. All right, so next question. I'm sure you'll get this one right. I'm confident in you. Among the alphabet letters, which makes honey? Among the alphabet letters, which makes
B.
honey? Oh, congratulations! Woohoo! You did it. Well done. The letter B. Did you have an idea of that?
Or still thinking in my mind.
All right, 2 more questions to go. So far, you're both leading. It's a tie. We want to see who's smarter. All right. So if a monkey, bird, and squirrel race up a coconut tree, which one of them is most likely to reach the banana? If a
Bird.
monkey, bird, and squirrel, just wait, race up a coconut tree, which one of them is most likely to reach the banana?
Coconuts don't have bananas.
Oh, this is that. Are you sure there's no more Kenya here circulating? Huh? I need to speak to the director. He gave you leakage. Very good. None of them, because coconut trees don't grow bananas. Now the last and the final question. Mashara is in the lead. Vincent, you can catch up. This is the question to get you there. What is the oldest continuously inhabited city in the world? What is the oldest continuously inhabited city in the world? Is it A, Istanbul, Turkey? Is it B, Athens, Greece? Is it C, Jerusalem? Or is it D, Damascus, Syria?
Jerusalem.
Oh my God, that's very close. That is very close. Unfortunately,
B.
that is not the correct answer. What was B?
Athens.
No, you said B and you don't know which country B was. The correct answer is Damascus in Syria.
Which
That-
position?
Is the oldest continuous city. And so I would like to announce the winner. Drum rolling, please. Boom, boom, boom. Congratulations, Mr. Mashari Angatia. You are the winner. How would you like to collect your check of over $1 million US? That is a polite joke. But thank you so much, gentlemen. You've been such amazing during this particular interview. And I'd like to give you an opportunity just to tell the guests and the viewer at home a few key nuggets or important key points when they're going into business as far as branding is concerned. So maybe we can start with the winner and then we'll go to the runners-up. Yes.
What I can say about branding and business is you are sitting there at home, you have an idea, maybe you're afraid of what you face in the future, maybe you don't know how to file returns, you don't know how to apply for a business permit, and so far. The most important thing is you have an idea. The next most important thing is to start. Whenever you start, you'll never get stuck. Every bridge you come across, you'll find someone to help you cross that bridge. So remove the fear out of you and start moving. Starting is the very best thing to do and the very best award you can give to yourself and your life.
Fantastic. Thank you. Very key right there. And how about yourself, Mr. Vincent?
Addressing to my fellow young men and also the world at large, strategically the leadership and how you want to drive the business in terms of how huge and how many people want to reach to. Financially and also step-wise if you need investors. In this case, I call upon, like my partner said, if you have the idea, jump into the business. Don't have to wait. The world will conspire to help you to push the business move forward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Of course, thank you, the viewer at home, for watching this episode. Let us know what you enjoyed the most and the key points that you will be taking home. I've been your host, Lucy Riley, and until next week, Tuesday, same time, same place, take care.